There is a weight we carry, invisible, yet heavy enough to bend our thoughts, to cloud our hearts, to steal the sweetness from this moment. It is the weight of tomorrow, the things we cannot see, the storms we imagine, the bridges we have not yet crossed. The weight of tomorrow steals the peace of today. It starts so quietly, almost without you noticing. A thought here, a worry there, a small voice that whispers about things that have not yet come to pass. What if this happens? What if it doesn't? And before you know it, your mind is not here anymore. It has traveled ahead into places that do not exist yet, into scenarios you can't control, into problems that may never even arrive. The body sits here, but the mind, it is running into a future that has not been written. And what is lost in that race? The calmness of this moment, the sweetness of the life happening right in front of you. The warm light through your window, the air filling your lungs, the people who stand beside you today. These become shadows because tomorrow has stolen your attention. This is the secret way life slips past us. Not in the big moments, not in the grand disasters or sudden changes, but in the quiet days when we are too busy living inside our heads to notice the beauty unfolding around us. We trade the only thing we truly have, this moment, for 1,000 imagined ones that may never be real, and the cost is heavy. Our hearts grow restless. Our minds stay tired. We cannot feel joy because we are too busy preparing for pain. We cannot feel peace because we keep waiting for the storm. But think about it. Has worry ever stopped tomorrow from coming? Has it ever given you more control? We wear it like armor, as if being afraid could somehow protect us from what's ahead. But fear doesn't prepare us. It only empties today of its color. It only keeps us from laughing when we have the chance. It keeps us awake at night, spinning stories in our minds while the moon rises and falls, while the world outside keeps turning, while life keeps slipping by unnoticed. The weight of tomorrow is not the future itself. It is the way we carry it before it even arrives. Like picking up a suitcase long before the journey begins and walking with it everywhere, feeling the ache in our shoulders, the strain in our back, even though we are still standing at home. We rehearse conversations we might never have. We feel pain for losses that haven't happened. We create endings for chapters we haven't even lived. Meanwhile, today waits for us. The laughter waiting to be shared, the moments of connection, the small blessings we are surrounded by every single day. All of it waits quietly, hoping we will notice, hoping we will finally set the weight down, even for a little while, and just be here. Sometimes the peace we want so badly is not hidden in complicated answers or distant goals. Sometimes it is here, simple, close enough to touch. If only we would stop living in a world that doesn't exist yet. The mind will always try to run ahead. It will always try to protect you by imagining everything that could go wrong. But the truth is, tomorrow will come, whether you worry or not. The only thing you can choose is whether you want to be alive for today. Breathe deeply and return to the present moment. It sounds so simple, almost too small to matter, but the act of breathing is the first doorway back to yourself. Most of the time, we breathe without thinking. The air moves in and out, shallow and rushed, as our minds run 1,000 miles ahead of us. We are breathing just enough to stay alive, but not enough to truly live. The body carries tension it doesn't speak about. The shoulders tighten, the chest feels heavy, and we call it stress or worry or exhaustion. But often, it is just the absence of presence. We forget what it feels like to pause, to breathe like the world is not falling apart, to let the air reach the very corners of our lungs, as if it carries not just oxygen, but a kind of calmness we have been craving for too long. When you stop and take a slow, deliberate breath, everything begins to shift. The noise inside your head softens, even if only for a moment. The hands that were clenched begin to loosen. The heart that was beating too fast starts to slow its rhythm. It is as though the body has been waiting for permission to relax, to let go of the invisible fight it has been carrying all day long. In that simple act of breathing, the present moment quietly opens its door and invites you in. The mind will try to resist it. It will tell you there is no time to slow down, no space to pause, no point in sitting still when there is so much to do, so much to fear, so much to prepare for. But that is the same mind that keeps running ahead, dragging you into a future that does not yet exist. A single deep breath is how you gently take the reins back. It is how you remind yourself, I am here, not there. I am now, not tomorrow. There is a reason so many ancient practices, whether it is meditation, prayer, or mindfulness, begin with the breath, because it is the one thing that anchors you. It cannot be done in the past. It cannot be done in the future. You can only breathe here, in this moment, and the more deeply you breathe, the more the present begins to feel like enough. Close your eyes for a moment and notice it. The air entering through your nose, cool and steady, the chest rising, the lungs expanding, the body filling with something so simple yet so essential. Then the slow release, the soft exhale, the emptying out. With every breath, the body takes what it needs and lets go of what it does not. Imagine if the mind could do the same, taking in only what nourishes it, releasing the rest instead of carrying it endlessly. Sometimes the peace we search for in books, in people, in distant dreams, is hidden in something as small as the breath we take for granted every second of our lives. Breathing deeply does not erase the problems waiting for us, but it changes the way we carry them. It keeps the mind from running too far ahead. It pulls the wandering thoughts back to the only place life can ever be lived, right here, where the air fills your lungs, where this moment waits quietly for you to notice it. Release what you cannot control. It sounds easy when spoken out loud, but inside the heart, it feels like the hardest thing in the world to do. The mind wants to hold everything tightly, to plan every detail, to predict every outcome, to make sure nothing slips through its fingers. It believes if it can just think hard enough, worry long enough, prepare deeply enough, then life will bend and twist according to its plans. But life has never worked that way. The more we try to hold it in a fist, the more it flows through like water, slipping away no matter how tightly we grip it. There are things you can shape with effort. Yes, but so much of life sits outside your reach. The weather will not change because you demand sunshine. Time will not slow because you are not ready to move forward. People will not always stay because you love them. The future will not always unfold the way you pictured it. And yet, we keep fighting this silent battle, trying to control things that were never in our hands to begin with. It exhausts the soul. It fills the body with tension. It steals away the peace that could have been ours if only we learned how to let go. Letting go is not giving up. It is not pretending that nothing matters. It is simply understanding the difference between what belongs to you and what never did. It is telling yourself, I will give my best to what I can control, my choices, my actions, my words, my attitude. But I will stop carrying the weight of things that were never mine to carry. It is like standing at the edge of the ocean and realizing you cannot command the waves. They will rise and fall, whether you scream at them or whisper to them or turn your back on them. The tide does not need your permission. And yet, you can learn to swim. You can learn to float. You can learn to ride the waves instead of fighting them until you are too tired to stay above water. The need to control comes from fear. If we can predict tomorrow, maybe we can protect ourselves from pain. If we can plan every step, maybe we can avoid disappointment. But life was never meant to be a puzzle we solve before living it. It was meant to be experienced one moment at a time, with all its unpredictability, with all its surprises, with all its messiness and beauty woven together. Some things will break no matter how carefully you hold them. Some people will leave no matter how tightly you cling. Some plans will fall apart no matter how perfectly you prepared. This is not failure. This is life moving the way it moves, with reasons you cannot always see in the moment. When you begin to release control, even a little, something changes inside you. The shoulders grow lighter. The mind grows quieter. You stop living in constant resistance to everything that does not go your way. You begin to see life not as an enemy to conquer, but as a river carrying you forward. You begin to trust that even when things shift, even when they fall apart, you will find new ground to stand on. You will learn to build again. Find gratitude in small, simple things. It is easy to miss them, because the world keeps telling us to look for the big victories, the grand achievements, the moments that shine so brightly they cannot be ignored. But most of life is not made of those moments. Most of life lives quietly in the background. The sunlight touching your face in the morning, the warmth of tea between your hands, the sound of rain against your window, the way someone smiles at you for no reason at all. These things come without announcement, without celebration, and yet they carry a kind of peace the loudest successes often cannot give. Gratitude is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is not about ignoring pain or struggle or pretending life is always kind. It is about noticing that even in the middle of the storm, there are small anchors holding you steady. There are pieces of beauty that exist even on the hardest days if you pause long enough to see them. A simple meal when you are hungry, a quiet night when your heart feels heavy, a song that carries you back to a good memory. These things may not fix everything, but they remind you that not everything is broken. The mind is trained to look for what is missing. It will always tell you what you do not have, what you have not achieved, what you have lost. Gratitude teaches the mind to look again, to see what has been given, what still remains, what quietly supports you every single day. It shifts the focus from scarcity to abundance, from fear to calmness, from restlessness to contentment. Sometimes we wait for something big to happen before we allow ourselves to feel grateful. We wait for the dream to come true, the struggle to end, the future to unfold exactly as we pictured it. But gratitude cannot wait for perfection. It grows best in ordinary moments. It blooms when you notice the cool breeze on a warm day, the taste of water when you are thirsty, the softness of a bed after a long day of work. These things seem small until you imagine life without them. When you start counting the small blessings, life begins to look different. The morning sun feels like a gift instead of a routine. The voice of someone you love on the other end of the phone feels like comfort instead of just another conversation. The food on your table feels like abundance instead of something ordinary. And the more you notice, the more you realize these little things were never little at all. Gratitude slows you down. It pulls you out of the endless chase for more and teaches you to see the enough that already surrounds you. It softens the edges of your worries because it reminds you that life, despite everything, still offers you goodness. Some days it is small, yes, but small is enough. A smile is enough. A deep breath is enough. A moment of laughter is enough. The world does not become lighter because you ignore its weight. It becomes lighter because gratitude reminds you there is still beauty here, still kindness, still reasons to keep going. It does not erase the shadows, but it brings out the light hiding quietly between them. The kind of light that can turn an ordinary day into something worth holding on to. Speak gently to your wandering mind. It is so easy to forget that the mind is not a machine built only for logic and tasks and answers. It is also a traveler. It moves endlessly between the past and the future, visiting places that do not exist anymore or have not yet been born. It takes you to mistakes you cannot undo, conversations you replay in the dark, fears of what might come next. It runs ahead, it loops back, it circles the same worries until they feel like part of you. And in all this running, the mind grows tired. It carries too much. It needs rest, but it doesn't always know how to find it on its own. That is why you must learn to speak to it softly, as you would to a child who cannot sleep because of the monsters they imagine in the dark. Most of the time, we speak to ourselves with sharpness. We call ourselves foolish for feeling anxious. We tell ourselves to get over it, to stop overthinking, to be stronger, to be braver. We use the voice of a critic when what we really need is the voice of a friend. Because when the mind is restless, when it is spinning with worry or drowning in too many thoughts, harshness only makes it run faster. It tries to fix everything at once. It believes it has failed for feeling this way at all. But when you speak gently to your mind, everything begins to slow down. You tell yourself it's okay to not have all the answers tonight. You remind yourself that thoughts are just visitors, not permanent truths. You guide the mind back to the present the way you guide a tired bird back to its nest, with patience, with calmness, with care. There is a kind of strength in softness. The world teaches us to fight everything, to conquer our thoughts, to control them completely. But control is not the same as peace. Sometimes peace comes when you stop fighting, when you simply notice what is happening inside you without judgment, without anger, without the constant demand to feel better immediately. The mind responds to kindness the way the body responds to rest. It begins to release its tension. It begins to trust that it does not have to solve everything at once. You can give it simple words to hold on to. Words like I am safe, I am here, this moment is enough. You can guide it back to the rhythm of your breathing, the feeling of the ground under your feet, the sound of the world around you right now, instead of the noise it keeps inventing inside. When the mind wanders into worry, you do not have to chase every thought it creates. You can watch them the way you watch clouds drifting across the sky, shapes appearing and disappearing, forming and fading, never staying the same for long. You can remind yourself that thoughts are not commands. They are not prophecies. They are just thoughts. Some will help you. Some will hurt you. Most will pass if you do not feed them with fear. Gentleness is not weakness. It is a way of saying I refuse to be at war with myself. It is a way of creating space inside your own head so you can breathe again, so you can think clearly again, so you can finally feel like you are living here, in this moment, instead of being pulled apart by 1,000 imagined tomorrows. Trust the timing and unfolding of life. There is a restlessness inside us that wants everything to happen now, exactly as we imagined, exactly when we planned it. We want answers before the questions are even fully formed. We want clarity before we have taken the first step. We want the ending before we have lived the story. And when things do not happen on our timeline, when plans fall apart or take too long or change shape completely, we feel like life has betrayed us. But life is not against us. It moves at its own pace, with its own rhythm, carrying lessons and opportunities we often cannot see in the moment. There are seasons for everything. Some arrive in bursts of color and warmth. Others come quietly with long nights and slow growth. The tree does not bloom in winter, but that does not mean it has stopped living. Beneath the surface, roots are growing deeper, preparing for the spring. In the same way, there are times in life that feel still, uncertain, even empty. But often, these are the moments when something inside you is taking shape, when strength is being built in silence, when clarity is forming slowly like dawn after a long night. Trusting the timing of life means accepting that you will not always see the full picture right away. It means letting go of the constant need to control how and when things happen. Some dreams will come quickly, others will take years. Some doors will open easily, others will require you to knock again and again until the right moment arrives. But when you look back later, you will often see that what felt like a delay was actually protection or redirection or preparation for something better than you imagined. We live in a world that praises speed, faster results, instant success, quick solutions. But real growth rarely happens that way. A seed does not break through the soil the day after it is planted. It waits in the darkness, gathers strength, reaches down before it reaches up. Life works the same way. There are times you will feel buried, but you are really being planted. You are gathering what you need before you rise. Impatience makes us doubt ourselves. It makes us question whether things will ever work out, whether we are moving too slowly, whether we have fallen behind. But there is no universal clock for life, no perfect timeline that fits everyone. Some people find love early, others much later. Some discover their purpose young, others only after wandering for years. There is no right moment except the one meant for you. When you trust the unfolding of life, you stop rushing. You stop comparing your path to anyone else's. You stop demanding that everything happen according to your schedule. Instead, you begin to see waiting as part of the journey, not a punishment. You begin to notice the small steps forward instead of only chasing the finish line. It takes courage to trust life when you cannot see what comes next. It takes faith to believe that even the delays, the detours, the disappointments are leading you somewhere meaningful. But trust allows you to breathe easier. It allows you to live fully in the chapter you are in instead of constantly reaching for the next one. It reminds you that life is not a race to the end, but a series of moments unfolding at the only pace they were ever meant to. So much of life slips through our hands because we are too busy chasing what has not yet come or holding on to what has already gone. But when you learn to breathe deeply, to let go of what you cannot control, to notice the small blessings, to speak kindly to your restless mind, and to trust the timing of life, something begins to change. The weight you have been carrying grows lighter. The noise inside you softens. The world feels less like a battle to be fought, and more like a journey to be experienced. Peace was never waiting at the end of a perfect future. It was always here, hidden in the present moment, waiting for you to come home to it.